This is the Mofjrd Talks podcast, where the intention is to empower you to be more of you. Your journey of becoming more fully alive and exploring what a life of meaning looks like starts now. So hi and welcome, Ole Haslestad, to the Mofjrd Talks podcast.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Yes, it's so nice to have you here. I'm so excited to dive deep into the world of health and entrepreneurship with you today. And I've heard so many beautiful words about you, so I'm curious to connect with you this hour.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, but before getting started, I would like to check in with you how you're doing, and not only how you're doing, but how is your heart today, Ole?
My heart?
Yes.
My heart is healed and fine today. I've taken a cold bath in the lakes of in here in Oslo. So I feel like ready to go. The overall state of mind and being is good, even though I have two small toddlers at home, 2.5 and 3.5 years old.
Yeah.
So they're like keeping me on the go every minute of the day.
Nice. That's lovely to hear.
Yeah.
So is the ice baths, is that or did you say cold shower or ice bath?
Today I took a bath in the sea.
In the sea, yeah. So
yeah.
Is that a routine that you have, or?
It's routinely in that I do it all year, but sometimes I can like go 2 weeks without. I don't have to do it every week or every day or something, but I go for a bath every month at least. Absolutely.
That's lovely to hear. And where is your attention right now in life, Ole? Is there anything anywhere in particular that your attention is focused on?
Yeah. At this moment, I only have like my attention to two places. It's within my two families, which is the one I have at home with my girlfriend and 4 kids, and the other attention is at work with my 100 employees, and that's what I have time with and energy with at the moment. So those two areas.
Lovely to hear, and I'm so curious to dive more into the world of your work world, and we might touch upon the other world as well. But I'm curious to dive deep into that. I'm also very curious to hear about when you look back at your life and everything that you have been through and achieved, and let's look at both achievements and emotions that you felt and relationships, could be whatever. What would you say that you're most proud of?
In life, I think I'm mostly proud of, besides my children, I'm mostly proud about my other children, which is my work, the Naprapatlandslaget as a brand and a company, and our employees here. And that's something I've been working on for 18 years. Is a big part of my life. It's a sort of almost my whole work life. So that's where my focus and energy has been going in the last 18 years. And I'm really proud that me and my colleagues has been able to build this company. Yeah,
and it's really been an incredible success, because you've really built the world's biggest chain of naprapat clinics, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And I would like to hear, in the beginning, you mentioned 18 years ago, like what triggered you getting into this work and launching this company at the beginning?
Well, this work was, of course, planned 5 years ahead, because I went to naprapathic school in Stockholm and was interested in manual medicine and how to help people with their health within perspective of muscle and joint therapy. And when me and my friend Jesper was starting our first clinic, we didn't really have a goal or a vision about creating a big chain of clinics. We just started out with focus on the client we had in front of us and doing the best possible care. And then it took like a small year, then we understood that we had a concept and and some skill set that could allow us to grow quite fast with employees. And then we moved to another city in Oslo, started our second clinic, and then it just kept on going. And was just 5 years ago we planted our first clinic in Stockholm, and then we are growing quite fast in Sweden now.
Wow, yeah.
But we didn't have like any broad vision or thought about creating a big chain. When you come from the therapy world, it's very rare that you have like financial background or focus on finances, or even have finances to make up a company. So we just started out with borrowed some small kind of money from Jesper's parents, and from then we went on, and it's been a journey since.
Wow. And I love how you share that, because oftentimes when we hear stories about businesses and companies that have been like, have turned into this kind of success, it's oftentimes it comes with this set of goals and the big vision even from the start. So it's interesting to hear how that wasn't really like the first vision that you guys had. But would you like to share what the intention was when you launched Naprapatlandslaget at first? What is the sort of mission behind Naprapatlandslaget?
Yeah, our goal was from the start just to be to learn the skills as a craftsman in naprapathy and helping people. That's quite a big skill set you need to have when you are helping people with everything from headaches and dizziness to neck pain and shoulder pain, hip pain, low back pain, and so on. You gotta have some common figure about how the human mind works. You need to know a lot about the biomechanics of the spine and so on, and then you need to have some skill set in your hands. You need to be able to motivate people to do their exercises and so on. So our first goal was to just be as good as we could be. That was the main focus and intention. Yeah.
Lovely. And I think it's interesting to hear, like, because one part of it is why in the beginning, but then now, like, what is the driving force for you today, as this is still your passion and the work that you're devoting your time to. So what is the driving force today?
So the driving force is still to help people to gain and regain their health, to live more like vibrant and pain-free. But we have changed the focus from being the two people that were standing on the treatment table and helping people to more help our staff be as good as they can, and to build a brand so we can help even more people. Yeah. So that's a shift of focus and mindset.
Yeah.
Still to this day, we've been able to work as therapists ourselves, but when we are growing, of course, we have to spend more of our time to develop the company and so forth, instead of just being too much nailed to the therapy table.
Yeah, I see. And I'm curious to hear the story of how you first started the company, because I've heard you guys share together how you in the beginning decided to model the best that was out there at that time. So would you like to share that story of how you modeled the best and how that helped you to gain the competence that you needed in order to launch the company?
Yeah, so since we share the same nervous system to a big degree, and what's possible for one human being is really possible for any human being. If we set apart like abnormalities and world record holders, not everyone can be like exactly the same good as everyone else. But if we like find a successful person's strategy, mindset, a set of behavior and so on, we can consciously and unconsciously analyze that and use that to to excel our own skill sets, and that what we sought out. We knew this was a really fundamental thing for humans or any being to model people. We knew it was a key factor, so we set out to learn from as many skilled therapists as we could. And we were so smart that when we had our last year in naprapathic school, we chose this the final term exam when we were researching one topic. We decided to visit as many naprapaths and chiropractors in Sweden as we could. That was our last thesis. So we got to spend time with over 100 different therapists and see what worked and what didn't work. And that work just continued along the way from to model people in Scandinavia and outside Scandinavia to take the best from the best to try to make our own kind of thing.
Yeah. And I love the power of modeling and how that actually works for us, as you mentioned. And I think it's interesting also the difference between modeling people and copying others, because I think there's a huge difference between. Yeah. So would you like to share for the listeners, what is the difference between modeling and copying?
Yeah, so if we think about the human nervous system and how we are as human beings, we are not, we are unique. We are not identical with anyone. If we are not identical twins, then we have the same DNA. Otherwise, we have not the same DNA, but we share the same nervous system. What is possible for one human being is certainly possible to a great extent to other human beings. And the way that we learn stuff is, I don't know if I should say only, but it's primary about modeling. If you see small babies and toddlers, they are always observing, and then they are learning this huge amount of skill sets. For example, they can learn multiple languages in just a couple of years. When they are 3 years old, they can speak several languages perfectly within the realm of a 3-year-old. So we are very small, we observe and we try to do the things that we observe ourselves, and that is really a highway for learning. But the key is to understand that we cannot be as someone else, so we gotta take someone else's skill sets and make it a little bit our own. So the difference would be, copying would be try to do something 100% like someone else. Modeling would be trying to copy it, but add a personal touch so it fits our own beliefs, our own nervous system, our own body, and so on.
Yeah. It's amazing, and I would like to hear how you can also apply the art or the power of modeling when it comes to creating better health in your life. But before that, I would like to hear from you. What do you define as health? What is health to you? How would you describe health?
Well, before I describe what health is, I really like Sigmund Freud's definition of health, which is to be able to work and love. That I really like, because health could fast be this kind of ascetic approach of eating perfectly, training all the time, going for ice plunges, meditating, and that doesn't have to equal health. But as Freud said, if we are energized and healthy enough to work and love, we are healthy. So in my own words, it would be if we feel we have energy, if we find inspiration and motivation, if we are more or less pain-free most of the time, and we have a legacy or a goal and dream and have a drive in our life and enjoy our life, we are quite healthy.
Yeah. And to some extent, it sounds simple when you say it, that we like to just be able to work and to love. And and now when you describe it, like to be free from stress, to have a mission, a legacy, and everything that you described, I think that is something that many people miss out on today, because we only focus on, for example, work, but a work that would be maybe not meaningless, but that wouldn't be meaningful at least, or we find ourselves in very stressful situations, or we experience a lot of stress in our bodies, for example. So it sounds so easy, but what are the ways to actually create that health then, and to create that life of being able to work and love in a meaningful way?
Yeah, and what is a little bit what is not really fair is that it's easy for the people that maybe got the good genes, the right DNA sequence, and have the right upbringing that taught them how to think and move and eat and so on. For those people, we can say it's easy. And for those as well, it's not easy all the time. But for the people that doesn't have these habits that they're got to model from their parents, for example, or had a little set of poorer genes, it's not that easy to say it's easy for them. So what's easy for someone is not that easy for other people. And it's like every other skill set or habit, once you got it, it's quite easy. So that we got to bear in mind is easy for someone, and we have to respect that it's not that easy for everyone. And health may be easy for some people, but those people struggle with other things. Now I forgot the last question that we were ramping up on.
So how do we create health? Like even so the how
in the frame of modeling. As we talked about previously, modeling people to interview them and look how they're acting is a huge free way to learn, think fast. So the best thing when we are trying to create health is not to study disease and sickness and look at what diseased people are doing wrong, but it's more efficient to look at the people that are energized, healthy, vibrant, and to analyze what are they doing and not doing. So that would be to take a few people in your surroundings, or someone that lives at another place in the globe that you know, or at least thinks are healthy and have a nice life, have a body that works, doesn't have pain, enjoys life, and so on. And if you're able to interview them or just follow their habits of eating and resting and training and so on.
And how, because I think when it comes to modeling also, I think it's easy to look at what other people are doing, and because I think to some extent there are some certain routines that works for some people that might not work for others. So for example, I would a year ago, I read every single book on personal development that was out there, and I found that many successful business owners woke up at 5, and I started doing that, and then I realized but do I really want to do this? Is this working for me? So I had to reevaluate, is this a habit that I want to have in my life? And I had to think about it. So how do you to not inspire people to only do what's working for others, but to also figure out what works for them? How do we find that the balance between that?
Yeah, that's a really important point, Madeleine, because we are our own systems, some human beings, and we have our own, as we talked about DNA, we have our own kind of intentions in life. We have our own value sets, and if Robin Sharma, that wrote the 5 a.m. Club, will lead us to believe that we are more happy and productive if we wake up and start a day at 5 a.m., we're gonna fuck up some people. So the important thing is to I think be like a parachute. You got to have your mind open. You gotta, if we have if you read books or read about people and hear people talking about really fantastic stuff of eating healthy in a certain way, resting, doing high interval sessions of running, waking up early in the morning, cold showers and so on. It's nice to, or smart to be a little bit perceptive of, okay, now I hear they say this, and especially good if we can see some results of it. But in the end, we got to make it fit our own body, our own path, and our own life. And that's a real trap to like take every little bit of recipe and make it our own. So what is really like fundamental in a person's health is the own, what I call the inner GPS. We have a feedback mechanism in our body which tells us if something is working for us or working against us. And if we only take information from the outside, it can lead us to a path that will make us less healthy, actually. So we gotta use everything we take in as food and so on, and make experience out of it. As Einstein said, that knowledge is experience, everything else is just information. So we got to use the information to do to make some experiences for ourselves, and after that we can decide to go further, for example, with waking up, going up early or not. What makes this tricky is that sometimes things that feels a little bit odd or feels hard might be good for us. So for example, if you haven't worked out in 6 months and you're going to start to work out, you're going to feel like shit, but it's really good for you. So it's always a little bit of negotiation and within the body to really understand what's good long term versus short term. And if you try to like wake up early in the morning, say if you used to go up 7 o'clock and then you read about successful people going up 5 o'clock, and then you try to go up 5 or 6 o'clock, you try to do it a month and you hate it, maybe it's not for you. But some people will try to go up 5 or 6, they hate it for 3-4 days, and then it changes their life in an amazing way, and then they should do it. The important thing then is to understand that you may not supposed to go up at 5 a.m. every day for the rest of your life, even if it worked for a time. So it's a time for everything. Everything goes in cycles, and we need to be aware of that. What works now for us may not work that good in tomorrow or next month or next year, because we change, our stress changes, our interests and focus changes, and with those changes we need to change the habits as well. Think about it, Madeleine, if we were to live the way that we are today for the rest of our life, we would not be that great. We need to do some adjustments along the way.
It would be quite boring as well.
Yeah, really. And that's perhaps one of the reasons that we make different changes. We need change. So and that leads us into to people being too healthy. That is not healthy either. So if you're like too much into eating too much good stuff, or just the right amount of healthy stuff, and you sleep the right amount of time and stuff, and then you maybe need to go to a bar sometimes or something.
And why is that? How can it be bad to be healthy? How
it's not bad to be healthy at all, but if you are so obsessed with health, it can become unhealthy. That is called orthorexia. That's like too much into health, and it's a trap to go there. So you need a little bit perspective and to like loosen up, and as the old people used to say, that everything in moderation. But to be healthy is only good.
Yeah. And I like that what you said about to loosen up sometimes, because I often, and now when we're talking about routines and habits and all of this stuff as well, it's so easy to sort of like get trapped into that discipline is the only way. But sometimes I believe that our discipline, like our perceived discipline that we can sort of develop, that can also be like a prison to us. So like you mentioned, maybe waking up at 5 isn't good for like the rest of our lives, but it could be good for for a period. So I think that is a good point that you're making.
And sure, waking up or going up a couple of hours earlier will make you have possibly a starting point of the day where you have more time that you usually have, and you're not going to be disturbed by anyone because it's 5 o'clock. No one's up to disturb you. So it's one of these things that might be good to do in slots in your life. For example, if you have a lot to do at work, or you have an exam to study for, or something, it can be good to understand that I can go up, for example, 5 o'clock every day this week. It's a good thing.
And that works. And something that I'm curious that is in my mind right now in this moment is that we are, when we turn on the news, everything that we are feeded with is news about the virus that we all know about. And I think it's interesting because I think the conversation is so flipped to the side of talking about like protecting ourselves from the virus, and we're talking about Mojrd, what is that called in English?
Face mask.
Yeah, the face mask and all this way that we can
or a mouth mask, maybe it is.
Exactly, a mouth mask.
A mask in a way,
a mask, exactly. But I would like to hear like a new kind of conversation where we could talk about how do we actually create health in our lives, and how can we stay healthy if we're already healthy. So I would like to hear from you. Do you have any ideas on that, and how we can start to think more in a in a healthier way, and to focus on what works and how we can create health, rather than to focus on the fear and all of that?
Absolutely. So it's about having more than one thought in the head, because we tend to be reading into the catalog of the regulations and the tip that we're getting from the government, or being like alternative and work on our own immune system. And both is, of course, very important. I watched the news here a week ago in Norway, where there was this heart doctor in Bergen. They have found out now in COVID times in Norway, the amount of heart attacks and heart-related disease are declining very rapidly. So then they thought, what is this about? And they think it's about that people are much better at washing their hands now. So Semmelweis, the old doctor 200 years ago that came up with hand washing was a good idea to prevent infectious diseases, was perhaps even more right than we've understood to this day. So to wash our hands and to keep some physical distance, and to stay home when we're sick, that the government is writing their information every day to us. It's important. But so we should not bury this important stuff. But at the same time, it's important to understand that we are in total in charge of our immune system, especially if we are healthy. We have an immune system that can handle very much stuff if it works correctly. And in those terms, we have a broad spectrum of things we can do to boost our immune system, or not to boost our immune system, but support it. To boost our immune system is like making it stronger, but we don't want the immune system to be too strong either. They can repulse on ourselves. So we need to have a supportive, balanced immune system. And if we're going to talk about some factors there, I would like to start with actually social interactions, which is a little bit tricky now, because we are advised to not be that social. and how many people we should be able to socialize or we can socialize is differing from month to month. And it's a smart thing we don't go into big gatherings now because this is an infectious disease, and we can also have it if we're young and healthy like you and me and most of the people that listen to this podcast. It's no problem for us if we have the support, the immune system in check. But socializing is one of the keys to have a vibrant and supportive immune system. So if we like de-socialize and isolate ourselves, it's gonna decrease the immune system's function. And we know from research of infants when they are born, it's actually worse to be isolated and ignored than it is to be abused physically or psychologically. Same goes for us human beings. The worst thing we can do is to isolate ourselves. We are like social human beings. We are genetically wired to be in a group. So I think still in these times when we're not supposed to socialize in numerous with different people, we need to have some interactions optimally on a daily basis. But nowadays only with a couple of people maybe. If we are if we want to think about the health of our families and other people that can be affected, even if you and I are not like bedridden and critically ill if we get this virus. So keep your social interactions on a smart level. That will affect the immune system in a positive way, and that field is, among other things, called psychoimmunology. So that the psyche and the nervous system and the immune system is one thing, and it affects each other. And we have the same in a discipline that's called epigenetics, which is a focus instead of the DNA, how we are coded in the material. There are several kind of factors that switches on and off our genes, which is outside the genes control, and that is how we see the world, how we perceive the world, and our lifestyle factors. And in all kind of research, we see that we need to have a relationship with other people, and we need to have those in a physical reality as well. And nowadays, especially these kind of weeks, it's perhaps good to do a little bit more over the internet, and still have some kind of interaction with people. Then we have, when we talked about the social things, the next low-hanging fruit would be to get a good night's sleep. Sleep is really, really important for the immune system, and it's maybe not that great taking care of by many people, because we have too much to do on our screens at night, maybe. So staying up a little bit too late, have a bad timing on our sleep or our bedtime. We have maybe not enough sleep, and then we'll get into trouble. So when it comes to sleep, we need 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 hours for some people every night. We need to have it in a special timing. It's different going to bed by 10, 11 at night, or if you go to bed at 2 o'clock at night and then sleep 8 hours. And the first one is better. Then it's important to, if you want to optimize your health and the immune system, it's good to have timing in your life, because we are creatures of nature, and we are influenced by the moon, for example, and the 24-hour cycle. So it's better to wake up and go to sleep the same time every day, taking in consideration what we talked about earlier, that sometimes we need to let our hair go and dance until 5 in the morning if we want to. But timing is a good thing. And what I think also is really important, which is not talked about that much, is to get enough daylight in our systems. And the daylight we get from the retina in the eyes and the skin. And now here up in the north, we don't get that much skin exposure to the light, of course, but the eyes is taking up much light. And when we are getting light through our eyes, especially in the morning and the noon, it's sending signals to what's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is a nuclei in the hypothalamus, one on both sides, which makes us later in the evening make melatonin, which is good for sleep. But the whole cascade starts in the morning, so it's good to have some, if you are able to spend some minutes or half an hour or whatever, first thing you do in the morning when the sun come up or you see the daylight. If you spend some time outdoors, it's going to be easier to fall asleep at night. You're going to have a better quality of your sleep, and you're going to have more melatonin, and melatonin is critical for the immune system. It's really essential of the programmed cell death and the garbage people that cleanses the body and immune system, which is called apoptosis and phagocytosis. So we have social interactions, sleep, food is really important, and it's a lot to talk about with food, but if we make it quite simple, if we eat stuff that our grandparents did, like high quality food, what is easier than to talk about what is actually a quality food is to start with amount of food. Because a lot of people, especially in our place of the earth, we are maybe over consuming stuff, also food. So the easiest stuff to do, at least theoretically, is to make sure we don't eat too much food or that we don't have too little food. That is easier than to start to discuss about different kind of fats and amino acids and raw food or not and cooked or blah blah blah. If you want to have the lower hanging fruits, is to eat as much as you feel is good to keep you energized and not giving you a energy dip, for example. And then the next thing would be to exercise, to keep moving, and that we need to do optimally every day as well. We don't have to, or should I say, most of us shouldn't do heavy, vigorous exercise every day, because we need time to rest, to get the anabolic effect, to make ourselves stronger. Because when we train and work out, we are actually breaking the tissues down, and it's when we rest that we are building. But we need to have a little bit of movement every day, so we can, for example, do some walks or other stuff that are easy to do in our everyday life. And on top of that, we need a couple of sessions each week, optimally, where we really hit the gas pedal and get the pulse up.
They're all great advices. I'm taking it in. Yeah, no, but I love how you shared, because I think also when we're talking about health, it's so easy to like you mentioned, to go into the details and what is the best diet or what is the best way. I don't and it makes people confused and terrified of doing the wrong things, or so I think it's good that we're just that you are simplifying it and breaking it down the way you're doing.
Because we all need to take ownership, because it's our health, and we need to understand that it's our nervous system, our bodies, that it's going to work through. And as we talked about, what works for some people doesn't work for us. But we still need to do stuff that we maybe don't really want to. Would you like to go for a a bag of potato chips and a Coke, or to eat some carrots. And a lot of people will choose number one because it's like wired to our brains to like really enjoy that foods, if we should call it food. But the more optimal way would be to eat the carrots most of the days. So it's that discipline and balance of what is like necessary and what is needed versus what can I slack a little bit more with.
And do you have any ideas or thoughts on how to, I mean, for people who struggle with ending let's call it a negative habit of, I don't know, eating unhealthy or not moving or whatever it could be, and wanting to get into a more positive and constructive habit, do you have any ideas on how to break that pattern and creating new habits?
The first and most important thing, of course, is to really get an ownership of what you want and why you want it. If you don't have 100% clear desire goal, then you're not gonna do any change, because change is more energy consuming than not to change. So if you're going to change, you gotta have some more energy, and you need to really have a desire for some change. And if that desires come from someone else, some change you've seen on Instagram or that your friends are doing, and you don't have the ownership or the willingness to do it, if it's not your dream, it's quite really hard. But if you really want to change, then you have a really good base of support to make the change. Number two is that the best or the easiest way to change then is to make the right decisions of what to change and in which sequence, which order, and to choose the things that you are like, you're getting the most for the least. Small changes that will make different, like huge differences in your life. So it takes just a little bit energy of you, but will give you much more energy. And for some people, that could be saying no to seeing some kind of friends that they don't really enjoy being around. It drains them from energy. It could be to outsource cleaning the apartment, for example. It could be to go out for 30 minutes walk every day instead of not doing it. It could be adding 2 liters of water every day instead of 2 liters of Diet Coke. All these are examples of how you see it, but quite small changes that could lead to giant like positive effects. And then you go thing by thing until you like have a totality, which is really good. Whereas if you set up a big plan that, okay, now I'm going to change my life. I'm going to start waking up by 5 a.m. I'm going to take a cold shower. I'm going to drink 2 glasses of water. I'm going to eat this non-processed organic food. And I'm going to like meditate 10 minutes before. I'm going to have like calm around me. Then I'm going to walk to my workplace. Then I will sit ergonomically. It's just too much for people. And when it's too much, they feel like they fail when they fail, and then makes it harder to get up on the horse again and make change. So be sure that you really want it. Start with something that you think that you can manage to change, and don't lose focus either on the big goal, which lies perhaps a year or several years ahead. Because it's not enough to go from 2 liters of Diet Coke per day to 2 liters of water. If you, for example, are 50 kilos overweight, you got to do something more, but you start with the small stuff. So it's got to be, you got to own your shit. It's your project. Start with the small things, the most for the least. And be gentle to yourself in the process. Be gentle to yourself when you don't manage the change, even if it's just a small thing. If you like get up on the horse and improve a little bit every day, we have time for like the downfalls. It's like the stock market. If you sell your stocks when it's a little bit down and never go in again, you're not gonna benefit from the upside, which is historically very, very good on the stock market.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep putting in the money and hold them there. It's gonna happen good things with that investment. The same thing with health investments. You gotta just keep on doing. If it's good things and you follow your inner GPS, it's gonna improve time by time.
Love it.
And then age catches you.
Yeah. Then it comes once you've achieved all these changes.
Then you can feel stuff, even if you're doing all the right thing. It's like, oh, I'm a little bit sore today.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Well, that's just life. Can't do anything about it, right?
So that's a good point. Also, that even if we are doing a lot of stuff, in lack of better terms, correct, it's normal and natural to get setbacks and smaller or bigger issues and pains and aches and stuff, and that's just part of life, and we shouldn't be demotivated by it. I have had a lot of clients through the years that are demotivated and depressed when they are doing their stretches and training and eating and sleeping, and still they've got their knee problem back. But that's just how life works, and these are guidelines for us to keep changing all the way, all the time.
That is a good point. Lovely. And I would like to now shift focus a little bit and get into the part of entrepreneurship that I would like to talk to you about a little bit before wrapping up this conversation. And something that I've been curious to ask you is, if you look back at the beginning of your journey, what is one advice that you wish you would have gotten in the beginning, or what is one advice you wish you would have gotten?
I actually don't know if I didn't get this advice, but one advice that I should have looked more into and executed on would be to hire a mentor, or someone in the board, or some person you can sit and have talks with, and that a little bit guides you and holds you accountable, and like a personal trainer. That we didn't have for a long time, and we were quite soon the most progressive actor in our business. It was hard to find a bigger brother that we can learn and model from. So quite early we were at the top in our field as well. It was hard to develop, but if we would have sought someone that was really ahead of us, it would be and helped us challenge us in our mindset and how we should set our goals and work through our goals, and giving us tips and kicks in the ass along the way. We would have made here faster. And I don't know if we didn't get this advice, but that's something I would remind myself of. If I could remind myself for 18 years ago, was find someone that can help you and drag you and kick you in the ass. Because when we are small children, we need parents to guide us. And we are grown up, we like to think that we can take care of everything for ourselves, but it's good to have someone that is more successful or smarter, or just have another point of view to help us. So that would be my best tip for today, for that.
Thank you. And what would you say has been the biggest challenge on the journey?
The biggest challenge for this journey, maybe that's been the balance act of keeping muscle and joint therapy, like manual therapy, which is the thing we do. And also important when guiding people and helping them with their health is to help them with tips and knowledge about all the other things that are so important for health, like the mental, emotional state, nutrition, and so on. So it's a balance between focusing on just muscle and joint manual therapy or the whole spectrum. That's a little bit difficult, and sometimes I think we may drift it off a little bit to the broader spectrum, which is good. We get a good like knowledge of the human biology in what it takes. But still, if you're gonna run a chain of manual medicine where people seek help with their shoulder pain, for example, you need to spend most of your time to grow skill sets within that small field and not talk that much about sleep, even if it affects the shoulder.
Yeah, I see.
So that's an important balance. Another balance that's been like maybe a little bit hard sometimes is how much of our time should we spend with clients ourselves, and how much should we just not doing that and use all our time to focus on our employees' growth and so on.
Yeah. All right. And where do you see Naprapatlandslaget in the future?
Naprapatlandslaget is growing quite fast. So I would think that we are double in the amount of clinics and employees in a couple of years. So now we are 100 employees. I guess we're going to be 200 within a couple of years. And the thing is going to be the same. We're going to focus on helping people getting rid of their back pains and getting stronger and more flexible, having being able to live the lives that they want to. And our focus is just to keep growing the brand, getting people to find us, attract the right kind of staff, making good decisions company-wise, putting in hours to help our staff to improve and so on.
Yeah. That's lovely to hear. And do you have any, for the ones listening, do you have any book advices on either topic of health or entrepreneurship, on some books that have changed your thinking during this journey?
I don't actually know if I can cite a book that changed my thinking, because I think that most of the books I pick up is like it's in my realm or my frame. So it's more like making me more of the one that I am instead of challenge me and change my thinking. So I don't know if I can think about a book that changed me, but I can think of some books that I think are really good and that may help some people with some important and nice perspectives. And one is talking about Robin Sharma, that has written the 5 a.m. book now, just the last year. He wrote also a book called The Monk That Sold His Ferrari, which is really good. And it's a little bit philosophical book about work-life balance type. Then I have a recommendation of a book from Paul Chek. He's an amazing therapist and coach and teacher from San Diego, California. He wrote an ebook called The 4 Last Doctors You'll Ever Need, How to Get Healthy Now. And he has a metaphor that you only need 4 doctors. It's Dr. Diet and Dr. Quiet and Dr. Happiness and Dr. Movement.
Love it.
And we've dove into some of those areas today. So that was an ebook. On entrepreneurship, do I have a book there? I actually don't think I have.
Well, it's enough with 2. Those are
but modeling wise, since we spoke about that, it would be smart to pick up any of the biographies of the people that you may think are successful and that you think are inspiring. For example, Steve Jobs.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point. Love it. And for the listeners who want to get in contact with you or with Naprapatlandslaget or anything around this, the work that you do, how can they reach you?
Well, we are reachable by email. Mine is Ole, at naprapatlandslaget.no. You can follow us on YouTube. We have a Swedish channel and a Norwegian channel. So that's Naprapatlandslaget Sverige or Norge. The downside of that is we haven't texted the videos, so it's only like consumable for Swedes and Norwegians. Then we have our Instagram account, which is called Naprapatlandslaget. So we just started like 1.5 years ago to put things up on social media, and we're not, since we're focused on the biomechanical work at our clinics, we haven't like dove into the whole realm of social media thing, but we are getting ourselves ready to kick ass in that realm as well.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's great. And if you were to reach the whole world for 30 seconds, what would your message be?
For 30 seconds, I would say find your goal, like what you really want to do. And then you got to work at it every day. And in parallel to that, you should hang out with the people that you love, eat like your grandparents did, and move a little bit every day. Then you're going to be happy.
Love it.
Yes.
Nice. And is there any question that I haven't asked you that you would like me to ask you now?
Can't think of any.
That's good. That means we're satisfied.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ole, for this hour. It's been my absolute pleasure, and I've learned so much from you, and I'm sure this will bring the listeners so much value. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's very pleasant to meet you.
This is the Mofjrd Talks podcast, where the intention is to empower you to be more of you. Your journey of becoming more fully alive and exploring what a life of meaning looks like starts now.